It's important that we don't automatically assume that it's possible for a male brain to be born into a female body or for a female brain to be born into a male body. First of all, it's important to look at science. Scientifically, if you look at a male and a female brain, most of their attributes are in common. It's sort of like a bell curve. And if you look at men and women, for the most part, they overlap. If this were a graph of male brains and female brains, you would see that for the most part, they are the same. If you look in the area underneath the curves, most male and female brains are similar. They do have some differences. The red is more feminine and the blue is more masculine. So you can have a woman's brain that has a lot of masculine characteristics, and you can have a female brain that has a lot of masculine characteristics. That does not mean that we have male brains that are born into female bodies or female brains that are born into male bodies. It means that we have a wide distribution of the way in which male and female brains express themselves. There's a few differences, but generally speaking, male brains and female brains are more similar than dissimilar. So it's possible to have a woman who has a very male-ish brain, or a man who has a very female-ish brain. It doesn't mean that the brain is male or female. It means that they have characteristics or attributes commonly associated with male or female. It isn't our brains that are that much different. It's our bodies. Our skeletal structure is dramatically different. Our muscular structure is different. Our endocrine system is radically different. And of course, our external and internal genitalia and sex characteristics are different. Our differences are more than just a penis and a vagina and whether or not we have mammary glands. We are physiologically different. Even NASA recognizes that male and female bodies are different. Male and female astronauts respond differently to space because we have different bodies. In fact, there's been a push in science to include more women as human subjects research because their physiology is different. So when they're doing clinical trials of various medications and treatments, they need women participants to determine how women's bodies respond to the treatments, as well as men to determine how men's bodies respond to the treatments. I really struggle with girl talk. I have never wanted to go on a girls' night out. I have always gotten along better with men. It doesn't mean that I'm a man stuck inside a woman's body. So as a child, I had gender dysphoria. I wanted to be a boy for a myriad of reasons. The problem with transitioning children is that often the reason children have gender dysphoria isn't because they have a male brain in a female body or vice versa. It's because something has happened to them and they have decided that if they can change their gender, whatever it is that happened will be better. Children engage in this kind of magical thinking all the time. They think if they can just make this one little change, all their problems will go away. And so by transitioning a child, we are likely to overlook something important, something that needs treatment, something that is emotionally damaging or difficult. And we will deny children support in understanding their life if we just automatically transition them. Sometimes children get the idea that it's better to be one gender or the other, based on society, based on media, based on films that they've seen or TV shows, or messages that they've heard from their peers. If a child doesn't fit in, they might decide it's because they're the different gender. Or in my case, I was sexually assaulted, and I was deeply angry with my body for betraying me. And I decided that I wanted to be a boy because my brother wasn't sexually violated the way I was. I decided if I was a boy, I wasn't going to be vulnerable anymore. If I had been transitioned, I would not have gotten necessary psychiatric services to help me process what had happened with me. Instead, I would be living under the delusion that I was born with the brain of a woman or a man in a woman's body. And one of the things that is strange about this, here I am, a grown-up. I still have a lot of male characteristics. I tend not to have female friends. I tend to identify more with male behavior. I understand men better than I do women. Does this make me a man? I don't think so. I'm clearly a woman. So some people would suggest that I never actually resolved my gender dysphoria. And I agree on some level. I do still struggle with gender dysphoria. But is that because I still have some psychiatric condition? Or is that because I am actually a gay man in a woman's body? Because even though I have gender dysphoria, I am extremely attracted to men. So when you think about it, does it make sense to suggest that I am a gay man trapped in a woman's body, which means that my husband, who is attracted to a woman, is actually a gay man without knowing it? Or does it just mean that sometimes we struggle with our gender identity?
That physiologically, a person is the gender of the sex they were born, rather than teaching children that they can have a wide range of behaviors and that they don't have to stick to traditional stereotypes of their gender behavior. We are telling them that if they deviate from the behavior that is traditionally stereotypical of their gender, that they are actually stuck in the wrong body. Our breasts and genitalia do not determine our gender. What determines our gender is the body in which we were born. We can support transgendered individuals, but to suggest that we allow children to medically transition their bodies so that their external genitalia matches that of the gender they identify with is reinforcing a delusion